Hello, hello, hello. We are back. We are back.
Hello.
So you got myself, BRANDIJENAE, and Miss Angela at Word on the Curb. We are here with
Hello.
another review for Real Housewives of Potomac and Married to Medicine. So we're gonna start off with Real Housewives of Potomac. Okay, so we know they had their finale episode last week. So this week was in Karen's big debut back into Real Housewives of Potomac. So look, let me put her picture up. We got Karen and Andy Cohen. They sit down for the 101. We see Karen come get out of jail, go home for the first time, and greet Ray and what's her name? Raven
And
and
her
her
sister.
sister, right? So okay, so let's just go ahead and get into it. What did you think about it overall? So don't forget, y'all, let us know what did you think about this interview overall, 1 through 10. What are you giving it, and what did you think about that first scene with her going home and meeting everybody?
Um, my overall opinion of this, my of this episode, I feel like they could have did without. Honestly, um, I feel like it was rushed. Um, her leaving the jail. I mean, it was good for because we wanted to see her leave from jail. But I
Mm-hmm.
just feel like I think then they do the interview within a week after she's been home.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, I would rate this episode like a 2. I'm not lying. It was boring as hell. I would
Mm-hmm.
do less than a 2. I really would do a 0. If
Mm-hmm.
I've seen interviews, maybe hold on a second. Hold on. Sorry.
Okay, so Angela says she is giving the episode pretty much a 0, but she's gonna give it a 2 if she got to put a number on it. I understand what she's saying, but it's interesting to hear a lot of the different takes because I think I was looking at it just from a perspective of housewife getting released from jail, and okay, this is the first sit down. I think for me, what I noticed is that Karen really did try to, or maybe it's not even a try, maybe she did control the interview um in a way. So I feel like that's the part that a lot of people are feeling like it's boring. um and maybe it wasn't, we didn't get any bombshells, she didn't really cop to very much. And so we're going to talk more about that when Angela is able to join us back. But again, drop down in the comments, let us know what you thought about Karen's interview with Andy Cohen for this bonus episode that we got of Real Housewives of Potomac this season. Also, while I have you on the line, honey, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like this video and go ahead and share it. But when you subscribe to the channel, you can go over to the community tab, right? And you can vote for the Real Housewives of Potomac Season 10 Housewives Awards. So myself and Word on the Curb, we're going to join and go ahead and review the results to those polls. So the reunion starts, I think, next week. So we'll do it next week because we want to do it before the reunion or before we do our reunion review. So make sure you are subscribed so you can go ahead and place your votes for that. But again, let us know what you feel about this week's episode of Real Housewives of Potomac. Or it's not even the episode because it's not necessarily part of the season. But what did you think about Karen sit down? I thought that it was interesting how Karen really did not want to cop to the alcoholism. You back?
Yes, girl, but I
Okay.
got an emergency, so I might get a call. We just
Okay.
but
Okay.
anyways, yeah, my thoughts on Karen, definitely. She don't want to cop to being an alcoholic because she still want to drink.
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
what I got out of it. A bunch of fluff,
Mhm.
and I just feel like She ain't
I
ready.
felt like she did a lot to control the interview.
Yeah.
There was this one part, and it kept sticking out to me, where Andy Cohen was saying to her that he felt like her saying she was in denial, being able to recognize that he felt like was a big step for her. It felt like she kept trying to interject, but I could hear him, you know what I'm saying, continuing on with what he wanted to say, and so I thought, like, yeah, you really was trying to control this interview in a way that really you didn't give us anything, and I don't even know what we was looking for. I think we just really wanted a little bit more accountability. I am very, very interested, like she I said, I listened to Kempire, and I think in the comments I kind of said, Karen is always going to grand dame, which when I say that, I mean kind of twist things around, right, to make it sound like something else. So even with her with her jail sentence, she said, well, she went in there, she started mentoring people. She volunteered, how she got time off. She volunteered for this program, and I thought, volunteer, and I put it in the comments, I said, well, more likely she had to join the program. Now, did she talk to some women while she was in there? Possibly so, but I'm not sure that they pulled you in and put you to the top. And
Well,
maybe
you
I'm
know what?
wrong.
I thought only reason why she could have been pulled to the top because she was serving time in jail, not prison, right?
Right.
So, usually jail is for short-term stay. Maybe she was there the longest.
And like I said, maybe so. I could be wrong about that, because what I
That's the
mean
only way
is,
I could see that she became over.
but my point is kind of that you had to join the program.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that, like you kind of are twisting this as if they said, well, you come on here. You know what I mean? Like, we need you over here. And it's like, well, you got to participate in this program
And
also.
plus, she got time cuts for doing that.
Exactly.
Mhm.
That's kind of the point. Like, she made it sound like it was something else. You know what I mean?
Extracurricular.
Yeah. And so I say, listen, she always gonna grind down. But like I said, I'm not really sure what we were looking for. I just kind of really looked at this, and I think sometimes I'm pretty good at that. We're just having a okay, let me get the information, type of deal. So I didn't necessarily have it was bad, but it definitely is not this, oh my God, you got to go and see the interview,
It
It
wasn't
was
no
just
must-see TV.
information. Huh?
I
Yeah,
said
yeah,
it
yeah.
wasn't
It
must-see TV
definitely
at
was
all.
not must see TV. It was just information. It reminded me of, I felt like it was no different than Teresa Giudice when she came home. They did the same thing. Now I know there's been some conversation about whether or not it was too soon. So you seem to be the thought that it may have been too soon for her, huh?
Yeah, I just felt like I wonder if she's drinking a cocktail now. I really don't feel like I really it just seems to me that's what I kind of checked out. It seemed to me, okay, she was quick to say she was addicted to prescription drugs. So, that's the thing or whatever. Somebody prescribed that to her. Why she got them, I don't know. Did she have a back injury? What happened? Why she had prescription
She
drugs?
said it was depression medication.
Okay,
So she said it was depression medication that she, from what I understood, from that she started taking after her essay. So 20 years ago, because that was another thing I noted that she kept repeating. 20, that was 20 years ago. 20 years ago, the kids brought up to her that she may have a problem. 20 years ago, it was like, but clearly the problem never stopped. Anyway, like, I think
yeah.
that's what the issue is.
So,
Mhm.
okay, so she's saying that she started taking the medication because of the
the,
sexual
the
the assault
essay, yes.
that happened when she was 19.
And then
So she started taking it when
when
she
her
was 40.
parents passed, she began to
Yeah.
up it, is what
Yeah.
she said.
Okay, I gotta look up what kind of psych drug that you take that's a
Which is why
narcotic.
she can't say nothing on TV about it, because
Mhm.
don't you go splatter splashing that shit across.
I'm
You know, and to your point, I thought that was interesting. I'd be very interested to really understand what her why she's okay with admitting to be an addict. However, she's very specific about which addict that is, you know?
yeah, because she still wants to drink. That's what that is.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
I would rather cop to being an alcoholic than over there trying to get me some over here buying pills off the street.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because after they're not supposed to over
And I
prescribe you
wonder
either.
if it's a class thing. I thought that myself. I said maybe she thinks that alcoholism is like a poor man's, thing.
I don't know. I know a lot of poor pill poppers.
Well, well, and then there's that, right?
Girl, please.
Well, yeah, I thought that was interesting. Now, what do we think about what she had to say about Wendy?
Girl,
What is
now
her gripe with Wendy? I'm like, now I want to kind of go back and try to figure this out. Like, why you got for Wendy?
see because she know. Hold on. Look.
Go ahead. Yeah, y'all. I'm just trying to figure out why she got it for Wendy as hard as she do. And Wendy got enough of her own troubles right now. So get a girl a break. But also, are we looking forward to seeing Karen rejoin the cast? What does that look like with this cast that we currently have? Definitely they can get rid of Angel. Um and I guess I don't know how I feel about Karen, because I feel like even though the season was not like this bombshell spectacular season, I thought they carried their own without Karen, to be quite honest. I barely missed her, if I have to say. Now it would take her rejoining and then us getting maybe some of those funny things, and then I say like, oh, okay, we did miss Karen. But honestly, as the season went on, it's the TV land. I tell y'all about that all the time. TV land, out of sight, out of mind. Which brings me back to her doing this right after jail. So I'm just like, they probably are financially strained. Oh, come on, honey.
I'm gonna have to end.
Okay.
I got an emergency going on.
Okay. Okay.
All
Go
right.
ahead. All
Okay.
right.
I'll try to pop back in.
Rejoin.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, bye.
Bye bye. Okay, so word on the curb had to leave us. So we're gonna jump right back into it since we're already here. Um okay, so what I was saying, that brings me back to talking about how if Karen did this too soon. So like I said, I'm looking at it like from a financial point of view. You're probably a little financially strapped. You're trying to get back into the groove of things. And maybe that does include drinking. Maybe that includes drinking. So maybe that's why it kind of reminds me of Luann. Luann had that kind of like hard time admitting, and Dorinda the same. Maybe that's a lot with a lot of people, because I think maybe with alcohol, because it's something that's legal, saying, I mean, pills are too, but I think people feel more entitled to want to drink, and so maybe it's hard to admit that maybe your relationship with it is not that healthy. Clearly, when you land yourself with a year's prison or a jail sentence at 60, and no one wants to be that. So as I was saying though, I didn't necessarily. I mean, the interview was not must see TV, as we said. Um, but I thought, okay, okay, Karen, you seem like you ready to take some type of accountability, I guess. I don't know what the hard on is for Wendy. Maybe we'll find out. Maybe that's her kind of giving us a little taste of what she's gonna bring next season, or what she want to bring next season. Then it was her and Ray. Of course, she go back to when all else fails, we'll go back to me and Ray are not in a good place. Nene. Nene always kind of defaulted to that herself. It was all it, when all else failed, it was her and Greg not in a good place. Her and Greg not in a good place. Now we haven't been in a good place for some time now. So there's that. She said that Ray told her that if she's a different person now that which I think that's fair, that you would come back a different person. Um, yeah, I think that's fair. And so Ray said that, if he had to walk away, he would be basically willing to do that. Um, so there's that. So, we feel like she's kind of gearing herself up for a little bit of a storyline to come back in with the girls. So drop down in the comments, let me know, what do you think about that? Are you looking forward to seeing Miss Karen come back? Do you think that maybe she should maybe do a different direction? Maybe she should do something Traders like. Maybe she should do something like House of Villains. Is she a villain? She could be, huh? Which one is the biggest villain between her and Giselle? What would we think? I should put that as a poll question. hmm But, should she try to, kind of steer herself in a different direction? So let me know what you think about that. I think that I would rate this interview. I'm gonna give it about a 5. Again, for me, it was just me. It just information was not. Andy is going Andy, and Karen is going Grand Dame, right? So when I say Andy going Andy, that means he never gets to the bottom of anything, as my cousin would say. But yeah, he has a different way. Okay, here's what it is. Because I don't think he does his interviews any different than anybody else. Carlos King is the same. He has his podcast. He just really kind of directs the questions and he lets the people talk. For the most part, if you let a person talk, they'll tell their own tea. You know what I mean? But just let them talk. Anyway, so I'm saying that to say he does not interview any differently, in my opinion, than any other person. However, I think because we know his proximity to the housewives, we have an expectation that he would hold their feet to the fire just a little bit more, because we want him to represent us as the viewers as having that particular proximity to the housewives, right? So I think that's why he gets a lot of the flack, and I think that's why we don't see him really kind of trying to go for anybody that hard. We can't always usually tell who the favorites are, but um, I think he just tries to tote this very what's the word? Oh my goodness. I had it in my head and it just jumped away. Shoot. Um neutral line. Right? And so we never really get any of the answers we want. We never really get some of the questions that we want. But at least he did fight home, getting out the fact that clearly she was in some sort of delusion. How about the fact that she admitted to not ever seeing that video until I guess she was in rehab somewhere? What do you think about that? Do you believe her? I absolutely believed her. I remember us doing the review about it, especially when the film came out, when the footage came out. And I said it then. I said she couldn't possibly have watched this. She couldn't possibly have watched this. There's no way she watched this and then still said like, "Oh, I'm gonna take my chances." Now, she. I feel like I don't know two things can be true. So, because I have never been in this situation, I can't really speak for how lawyers operate. But what I do want to say is I don't know um shoot. I don't know if your lawyers would force you to watch something, or if that's just what it is. They will have a conversation with you. My assumption is that that's the way it would go. Is they have a conversation, let you know that there's this evidence, you can see it if you want to. If you say you don't want to see it, then you don't see it. And then you tell your lawyers what you want to do because you pay them, and so they kind of just go. They advise you about what to do, but then they go along. Now, Karen, it felt like she had to get out um that they did, tell her about it. And it felt like she was kind of like covering or something. I don't know. I could just be reaching because sometimes I do that too. But yeah, I felt a little like, but yeah, did she see it? Absolutely not. It's no way she could have saw it. It's no way she saw that. And I said she probably, so she certainly was in a fog of delusion. But I think she's still there, y'all. I think she's still in some sort of delusion. Um, Carlos King mentioned British Williams interview, which I watched that interview as well. I watched both interviews. And Karen's interview for me was similar. Not similar in the sense of she really did not admit to exactly what she went to prison for, went to jail for, but she kind of tiptoed around it. Like she took accountability, but then she took it back. She took it and then she took it back. Um, so, we'll see what's to come from the Grand Dame, see how she bounces back. She looks good. I would say she looked good in the interview. I'm wishing her well. We're gonna see how her and Ray, how that ends up going. We got to see her son, which we don't ever get to see him. I think the last time we saw her son was like the vow renewal or something. So yeah, that was nice to see him, and I think her nephew or somebody. So yeah, that was that on that, honey. Now, I was gonna say we can get into Married to Medicine, but I'm kind of wondering if we want to go ahead and maybe end this here and we can resume. Myself and Word on the Curb can resume. Um at maybe later this week. Yeah, because I got some other stuff I need to do today, y'all, too. So for today, we ended up talking about Karen Huger and Andy Cohen's interview, the bonus episode that we received from Real Housewives of Potomac, season 10. No accountability. She skated around whether or not she's an alcoholic. She did cop to having a addiction to prescription medication. What medication that is, we don't know. So it's not pain relievers, right? She is telling us about depression depressive medicine, but that, as I laughed a little bit or scoffed because what's interesting is very much so mixed with alcohol, it impairs, right? I don't know a depressive medicine or many medicines actually that wouldn't give you that warning. So it's interesting that even in her copping to having the addiction to the prescription medication, it's still not She's still not saying that it's like opioids. She's not saying it's oxycontin. You know, like she's still being very specific with the way that she wants you to view her addiction. But she does want you to know that she is addicted. So she is going to be a lifelong, she's going to be in a lifelong recovery. Something like that she called it. I can't remember. But yeah, lifelong recovery, something like that. It's like, okay, girl. Ain't they all like until they not? So that was another thing too. It felt like she was already explaining a relapse without relapsing, or at least we don't know that she has. You know, anyway, it was they're giving Luann vibes. Luann had trouble with it in the beginning, also. I think Luann is back to drinking. I think Luann feels like she can control it. Lorinda has the same problem, even though the only difference between Dorinda and anybody else or the rest of them, or the two I just named, is she doesn't have a DUI. And that's because Dorinda don't drive. Dorinda know better. Dorinda does not drive. Um, so there's that. So anyhow, that's that on that. Um, yeah, I figure we can pick up Married to Medicine later this week. So listen, if you have not already, make sure you like this video, share it to your channel. Also, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Make sure you subscribe to Word on the Curb. And make sure you go over and put in your vote for the Real Housewives of Potomac's Housewives Awards for season 10. This is going to be our first one. So I'm really excited. Cheers, okay? Cheers to that. I'm really excited though about doing the first Housewives Awards, and I'm excited to get some done for. We're gonna do it for Married to Medicine, of course. The Real Housewives of Atlanta should be coming up, so we'll do it for them too. But make sure you subscribe to the channel, and then you can head over to the community tab, and you can go ahead and place your votes. Okay, so that's all I got for y'all. I'm gonna get up out of here. Make sure you subscribe so you'll know when we jump back on and do Married to Medicine. Okay, I'm out, y'all.